Michael's right. I do not know what it's like to struggle with substance use, but I know what it's like to be me.
Danielle, for right now.
Let's go. I'm on a journey to discover the truth. Living life in recovery is lovely. You got the power in you. Surround yourself with positive energy. Judges hitting people with provocative penalties. Need to make a change. Advocate to change the laws. Prove to people that it's not insane. When you stand behind a cause, I'm here to speak about the pain. Recover loud to normalize the disease that's been killing all my friends and my family. The time is now to let it all go and recover loud. The benefit is healthy people, family and friends that never have to overdose ever again, never have to plead out to a lesser offense. I'm proud to say that I recover loud. I never thought I could, but I'm so proud that I discovered how to live my life again, controlling my own destiny. I needed recovery, I still need it desperately. Addiction never defined my identity. I recover loud, here to tell my own story. I recover proud, save a life of like 40. I recover loud, yeah, I recover loud. I recover loud, yeah, I recover loud. I recover loud, here to tell my own story. I recover proud, save a life of like 40. I recover loud, yeah, I recover loud. I recover loud, yeah.
I had my reservations about going to that event because here's an event where these people are talking about how great recovery is, put on by organizations that failed my son, in my opinion. I'm just like, I hate the world right now, right? Because my son had died. I don't know if it was 3-4 weeks after Michael passed away. Michael passed away. The day I found out was August 14, and this event was the beginning of September. So it really was fresh. And I messaged Claire and then my sister, and they said yes. So I was like, well, they want to go, I go. Not washing my hair, but put a baseball cap on. We're going down. And there was actually an event in DC that weekend. It was a fentanyl
Awareness.
sort of awareness. Like, it was a march at the Capitol. And I really wanted to go to that, but I didn't have anyone really that would go with me. Like, my fiance, he would have went with me if I really forced him to, but I was also just all over the place. So we didn't go, and I felt like I was failing my son not attending that. So it was like, well, this is going on, and this is right here in my town.
Right.
And even though, yeah, I was going to go with questions and kind of like ask them,
So
why they didn't do this and why, kind of just like pick at them. And I'm glad that it was done and I wasn't in that mindset.
the one thing that I noticed at that recovery event, for recovery resources, there wasn't much to offer. What led you to deciding to open up the recovery center?
When Mike was introduced to sober houses, he was like, someday I'd like to have my own sober house and for Ken, but like, you could help me with that, right, Mom? Like, yeah, of course I can. Like, I'm a realtor. I can find you a sober house. I can find you a house that you can make into a sober house. So it was something, for him, and I just had so much faith in him. I had high hopes for him. I just, in my heart, felt like he had a very big purpose here. And I knew that he would meet that purpose or, figure that out when he got sober. And anyways, there was times where he would not be doing good. And I was like, I really want to, when I started feeling like I was being more helpful than hindering his recovery, I wanted to do something too. I actually had applied to get my master's in clinical counseling, and I started taking classes, and the kids knew about it, and I kind of felt like no one would listen to me unless I had, like, I have a business degree,
Right.
but like, unless I had, like, you know, a master's or a doctorate or something. And I figured I could work on this while he's working on his recovery, and, like, you know, in a few years I'll be finished with this program. He'll be good in his recovery. But, you know, it wasn't coming, and I was always kind of like, you know, maybe it's just something that will only happen when, you know, many years down the road. And he overdosed in May last year, and had to be Narcan 6 times. And he was in the Bangor, one of the hospitals in Bangor, and he FaceTimes me from the hospital. And I had been pretty firm with my boundaries at that time. He had been kicked out of the house, and he was threatening me to get him a hotel room, or he was going to go find some more dope and overdose and kill himself. And I was just like, you're killing yourself every day that you choose to use, Michael. I'm not going to get you a hotel room so that you have a comfortable place to get high. So he was mad. We ended that conversation. Anyways, it was even though I was very calm on the phone with him, and I'm okay with making this decision because I know his friends brought him to the hospital.
Right.
He's got many contacts in Bangor. He'll be on somebody's couch, and he's got his phone. And I told him, if you want to go back to treatment, I'll be there. I'll get you right back in.
Yeah.
But unless you want that, you're not getting anything from me except I love you. I can be good in the moment, but then it, like, you know, it hits me eventually. And so I did stop taking, I got out of the class. I had to drop my classes. So there was that, Michael wanting to do, like, a sober house here, and me wanting to work with people, maybe not so much directly in recovery, but, like, affected others, because, you know, that's where I come from. But when I went through all this stuff with Mike, it was like, there's hardly any resources here. And you want to get him into detox, you either need $8,000, or you need to wait 2 weeks, or you need him to be vomiting, and it's like there's always just some sort of roadblock. And I did a lot for him when he decided that, you know, he wanted to share with me. I remember that morning. He was in a fight with his dealer. There was a discrepancy as to whether or not the Cash App or whatever payment went through, and so he didn't have the money too. And he was like, he's just, so I anyways, he was telling me a story because at that point he decided to just say, listen, this is what I've been doing, and there you have it.
Was it a surprise to you? Had you suspected?
So I knew that something was, like, not okay for a while. Was it a surprise that it was heroin? Yes. I mean, I didn't think that it was. I knew that. I suspected that it was, like, Percocets, Oxycontin, whatever the stuff is. He always had back pain. I've seen it a lot as far as, like, how people act when they are using different substances. I actually found cocaine in his coat pocket or something. That was a while back. I almost forgot about that. That was when he was like a junior in high school. And so he told me that he was just selling it. And I said, well, you're just going to get rid of it or I'm just going to call the police on you. So he said, please don't call the cops on me. Give me a couple hours. I'll get rid of it. So he called the guy that he had gotten it from, and the guy apparently took it back, but there was money missing because, you know, yeah. So I knew that like there was a possibility of that, but
You know, I started out with pills from a back problem, and then eventually they stopped prescribing, so I was buying on the street, and then after that, I couldn't find pills anymore because they weren't prescribing them as much anymore. It was a surprise to me when I started using the lowest of the lows, you know, the highest of the highs with meth. For a long time, I couldn't even say the word heroin. I'd call it H or dirt or down or brown or anything but heroin. And I remember when I finally decided to admit that I was a heroin addict, it hit me like a ton of bricks, you know, because you heard of, as a kid, I used to hear about that with other people, you know, but I had an image of what a heroin addict looked like, and I didn't feel that I fit that. But I did, and I was. And, you know, eventually that led to me wanting to turn it around. Did you believe, after you found the cocaine when he was in high school, when he said he gave it back, did you believe that was it for him? Did you forget or
I didn't forget. I didn't, I don't know, I guess I just wasn't, you know what? I wanted to have him kidnapped in the middle of the night and brought to a treatment center. I would research them. I would see if I could fit it into my budget. And I got to the point where I was like, everything I read was saying it's going to cause more trauma to the kid. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work unless they want to.
Right.
And no, I didn't ever feel like Michael's issue was going away. It was just, what can I do?
Right.
And I tried to, you know, get help from his father. Was pretty much the only one that I would be like, listen, you know. And it was, there was no getting help.
Well, and I'm sure you wanted to believe, you know, that, you know, he told you he gave it back. That part was over.
Yeah.
I found it really interesting that you said you wanted to have him kidnapped and take, because honestly, there were times.
I don't know if that's the right word, but yes.
Because seriously, there were, like, as I said, I couldn't admit that I was a heroin addict. And that's what it would take for me to reach out for help. So I used to wish that something would happen. Somebody would just find out, take me, and make me do it. Because I was ready for it, but I wasn't ready to accept it and admit it and tell other people that that's what I'd been doing while I was raising my kids. Mm. You know, my daughter was 16 before I ever went to rehab. I started using before she was a year old. So that entire time, my daughter never knew a sober version of me. And I think the idea of letting them down by telling them, you know, because they did look up to me. Mm-hmm. And the idea, and honestly, when my middle son found out, one of the things he said is, I hope I'm never like you. But the whole time growing up, you know, he did look up to me. He used to say, you know, I want to be just like you. I want to do this. And that was the biggest, you know, the biggest hit that I took. And ultimately, it's what drives me in recovery.
Yeah.
Because, you know, now they know that I'm doing the work. They're proud of me. You know, and it's, of course, I'm proud of myself, but just knowing that, you know, I'm not letting them down keeps me going.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, Michael didn't. He didn't want to believe he needed help for a long
Right.
time, and it's funny you say that because I forgot about something. So I did more actually with the cocaine. I didn't just give up there. I showed up home one time, and he did smoke weed, and he was allowed to, not by me, but his father and the father's girlfriend at the time thought it was not right to tell him he couldn't because they did.
Mhm.
And so for me, it was like, if I tell him he can't and I don't let him just do his thing, like I can set my rules and say it's not allowed in the house,
Right.
but like there's really not much I can do to say you're not going, like we can't control anybody but ourselves.
Absolutely.
So I had actually showed up to the house and to our apartment, and he left a bong on the table, and I was like, oh my goodness. And I got my daughter, so I hid it just so that when she got home she wouldn't see it.
Mhm.
And I went I had to go show a house. When I went to show the house, he's blowing up my phone and I'm not answering it because I'm trying to work.
Right.
Well, when I get back home, when I finally get to respond to his messages, it's where the hell is my bong, or where the F is my bong? And I'm like, I told you I don't want it in the house, and I definitely don't want your sister around it, so I hid it. And okay, sorry about that, I found it or whatever. When I walked in the apartment, he had trashed it. He trashed the apartment, like not like so extreme, but extreme enough that he broke some of my things. And I was crying, washing avocado off the walls of my apartment. I took pictures of everything, and I went to the cops because I had went to them plenty of times before. My son had a very clean record because, I don't know, like they just, anyways, they said, you're gonna have to press charges against him. And I'm like, okay, like, do I really want to go down this route? Well, they said if you press charges, they can get him on probation, and then he'll have to be held accountable by his probation officer. So I said, you know what, that's what we'll do then. So, Mom, I'm sorry, as if you're gonna do that to me. And he was fine, like he knew that he did wrong and that's what I was gonna do. So he had to meet with and things were okay. And I went down to Connecticut to see my sister, and when we were gonna leave, he's just a monster in the vehicle. I told the probation officer, he said, how's Mike been? How was your trip? And I said, okay. I said, but I don't know, like something was up with him, like the day we went to leave or whatever. So he piss tested him, and he actually came up positive for cocaine. And Michael's like, cocaine? I don't know. They sent him to, what is it, Long Creek? The place in Portland?
Oh, yeah.
There's one facility that they transport them from if they're up here. And the men are in the yard, and I'm like, my little boy is gonna be in jail with these men. Like, what did I do?
So that was a direct result of you calling the cops because he trashed the house and you got put on probation?
I hit his mom.
Because you hit his mom.
Because, yeah. So, I mean, he probably, I say okay, like he wasn't anything out of control. I mean, he was, I'm sure he was abusing different things. For me, it was like
almost like a normal-ish high school kid around here. A lot of people are drinking and smoking weed.
There's nothing to raise.
Yeah. It's kind of like, well, he's gonna grow out of it, hopefully.
Well, we were in high school too.
Yeah, exactly.
How old was he, or how long ago was it when you found out that he shared with you that he was doing heroin?
November of 2020, I think, that he needed $10 to go to McDonald's. And I said, well, I'll bring you to McDonald's. And he was like, no, just give me the $10 and I'll go. You don't need to come with me. Like, I just want to go get a nice coffee and whatever. And I'm like, no, I'm not giving you $10. Like, if you want to go to McDonald's, then get in the car and we'll go. And he was just sitting there, like, his leg bouncing rapidly. And I just looked over at him and I was like, Mike, what's going on? And he was like, you really want to know what's going on? And that's when his voice started, like, shaking. And he just started telling me things that I never thought I would hear from him. You know, positions that he was put in with friends, with family, the way he felt living in this area. He said, so there you have it. Your son's a junkie.
Recover Loud is brought to you by Recovery on the Road, a Facebook group dedicated to providing recovery support and resources to anyone from anywhere, at any time, day or night.
And I was like, you're not a junkie. Like, you know, what are we going to do? Like, we have to, like, I'm really glad that you told me this. I know I was like, I can't, like, show him that, you know, I'm dying right now by listening to this. But, yeah. I said, well, like, what do you want to do? Like, you want to go to rehab? No, I don't need to go to rehab. He says, I'm going to start going into withdrawal. And that's when we, you know, started talking about different options. And I was, like I said, I got on my phone and I reached out to one of my best friends and asked her about Suboxone because I just happened to Google it and see that that's what people take when they're, and yeah, like I said, it was just roadblock after roadblock of me trying to get him an appointment or get him something. And
yeah, and here in the county, there's not a lot of different programs for Suboxone.
no, so he didn't want to go. There was a center in Madawaska. He didn't want to go there because people know him.
Right.
So we were going out to Presque Isle. So that's like an 1.5-hour drive.
Right.
So we would, you know, go there once a week, and again, he knew how to manipulate very well and was able to get other prescriptions and abuse them, and it was
yeah, we're definitely good manipulators, whether it's our parents, our friends, or our doctors.
My friend works at a clinic that, like, gives people Suboxone, so it must be okay, right?
You know, every part of our life has to change, or we can just end up back in that cycle.
No, and that's kind of like, that makes me think, like, the first time he went to rehab, and he kind of just thought he was gonna show up and, like, he was gonna get sober because he got attendance, like A for attendance or whatever. Rockland Recovery. Well, I sent him there.
Yeah.
In Massachusetts, and they have a great program and great therapists, and I would talk to him every day. And one day I said, so how was your day? What'd you learn today? And he says, oh, I learned that I'm not an addict. And it's like, oh my goodness gracious, here we go.
Yeah.
And he's like 2 weeks into the program. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me right now. And
2 weeks into my program, I was like, why am I still here?
yeah,
I'm on Suboxone. I don't crave drugs anymore. Why is it 9 months? You know, it's because the people who actually know what's going on say it needs to be 9 months.
yeah.
You know, and I had to come to accept that. The fact that they kicked me out after 3 wasn't because I did so well.
You don't need to be here anymore.
And you know, that's, for a little bit, that's how I played it. You know, I went to sober living. And then when they kicked me out of there, I realized maybe there's still something wrong with me. And, you know, I know my issue was my thinking. You know, I don't need this because I'm not as bad as them. You know, I don't need this because, you know, I didn't get that bad. I wasn't using a needle. You know, I just smoked it and snorted it, you know. You know, but all of that stuff has to change. So regardless of what program we go into, if we're not going to change our thinking, then it's not going to work for long.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately. But Suboxone is today, you know, probably the leading treatment.
Yeah.
And I attribute that really to the drugs that are on the street. You know, to become completely abstinent off of the drugs that are out there today is damn near impossible.
It's hard. Yeah.
You know, and it's not the drugs of the 40s and 50s and 60s anymore. You know, it's poison, and you know, it's killing people everywhere.
Let's go. I'm on a journey to discover the truth. Living life in recovery is lovely. You got the power in you. Surround yourself with positive energy. Judges hitting people with provocative penalties. Need to make a change. Advocate to change the laws. Prove to people that it's not insane. When you stand behind a cause, I'm here to speak about the pain. Recover loud to normalize the disease that's been killing all my friends and my family. The time is now to let it all go and recover loud. The benefit is healthy people, family, and friends that never have to overdose ever again, never have to plead out to a lesser offense. I'm proud to say that I recover loud. I never thought I could, but I'm so proud that I discovered how to live my life again, controlling my own destiny. I needed recovery, I still need it desperately. Addiction never defined my identity. I recover loud, here to tell my own story. I recover proud, save a life of like 40. I recover loud, yeah, I recover loud. I recover loud, yeah, I recover loud. I recover loud, here to tell my own story. I recover proud, save a life of like 40. I recover loud.